Prime Field.
UConn just added the number 3 recruit in America, a 6'5" center who averaged nearly 18 points, 18 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and more than 4 blocks per game. And she still may not be the center Geno Auriemma trusts when the game is on the line. That is the real issue inside UConn's front court. This is not a talent shortage. It is not a size shortage. It is a system fit and trust problem. Jana El Alfy already gives UConn size, elite per-minute rebounding, and efficient finishing against college competition. Laura Vukosa arrives with a more versatile offensive profile and the mobility to potentially function as a modern connective 5. Gandhi Malu gives UConn another 6'5" developmental option, and Sarah Strong and Blanca Quinones give Auriemma the ability to avoid using a traditional center altogether. So the competition is not simply El Alfy versus Vukosa. The real question is which front court combination allows UConn to preserve its spacing, decision-making, and defensive flexibility in a championship-level game. Start with El Alfy, because the conversation around her role is often based on an incorrect premise. She did not go from starting 27 games to sitting on the bench. She did not start a game in 2024-25. She played in 36 games, averaged 15.8 minutes, scored 4.7 points, and grabbed 4.7 rebounds per game. In 2025-26, she played in 35 games, started once, and averaged 11.5 minutes. Her role did not collapse from starter to reserve, but it clearly contracted. She lost more than 4 minutes per game, despite improving her field goal percentage from 53.3% to 62.8%. That is the first major clue. Auriemma's concern probably was not whether El Alfy could finish an uncontested layup or convert a clean post seal. She made nearly 2/3 of her shots. When UConn created a simple interior opportunity, she generally finished it. The questions were everything surrounding the finish. How quickly does she process the next defensive rotation? Can she catch at the elbow, recognize the backdoor cut, and deliver the pass without holding the ball? Can she screen, rescreen, and relocate without occupying the same space Sarah Strong wants to attack? Can she defend ball screens in more than one coverage? And when the opponent goes smaller, can UConn keep her on the floor without changing its entire defensive structure? That is where trust is earned in Auriemma's system. Look at the rebounding numbers, because this is where El Alfy's case becomes complicated. She collected 145 rebounds in 403 minutes last season. That is approximately 14.4 rebounds per 40 minutes. That is not average production. That is a major strength. When the shot goes up, El Alfy uses her size, establishes inside position, and attacks the ball. UConn does not have to manufacture that part of her game. She's naturally productive on the glass. But watch what happens before the rebound. Can she stay connected to a guard and drop coverage without retreating too deeply? Can she show at the level of the screen and recover? Can she tag a roller close to the corner and still finish the possession? A center can be the best rebounder on the roster and still reduce the team's defensive flexibility before the shot is taken. That is the rebounding paradox. El Alfy owns one of the clearest individual strengths in UConn's rotation, but that strength has not forced Auriemma to play her extended minutes. She played 7 minutes against Notre Dame in the Elite Eight. She recorded 4 points and 4 rebounds. That is productive work in a small window. 5 days later, against South Carolina in the Final Four, she played 8 minutes without a shot, point, or rebound. Those numbers do not prove Auriemma lacks confidence in her. But they show that rebounding alone does not guarantee postseason minutes. Against elite opponents, UConn needs its center to help solve several problems at the same time. The 5 has to rebound, protect the rim, defend screening actions, maintain offensive spacing, and make rapid decisions when the defense loads towards Strong. If one skill comes at the expense of 3 others, the lineup becomes matchup dependent. The Achilles injury also matters, but it has to be discussed responsibly. El Alfy ruptured her Achilles during the 2023 FIBA Under-19 World Cup and missed the entire 2023-24 season. That does not allow us to declare that she permanently lost lateral quickness or explosiveness. There's not enough public evidence to make that claim. But the injury cost her an entire developmental season. Instead of learning UConn's terminology, coverages, reads, and timing through live college possessions, she spent that year rehabilitating. For a center in Auriemma's system, that lost time matters. UConn does not ask its post players to stand on the block and wait for an entry pass. The position requires constant reads. Set the angle correctly. Recognize whether the guard rejected the screen. Know when to roll, when to short roll, and when to clear the lane. Identify the low defender. Make the next pass before the defense resets. Defensively, the 5 must communicate the coverage, protect the restricted area, and still understand when the scheme demands movement away from the basket. El Alfy's challenge may not be a lack of talent. It may be that she entered her first healthy college season already behind UConn's normal developmental timeline. Now Vukosa arrives with a profile that appears closer to what Auriemma wants from the position. Her senior numbers at Christ the King were 17.8 points, 18.1 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 4.4 blocks per game. The points, rebounds, and blocks are what people expect from a dominant 6'5" high school center. The assists are the number that matters most for UConn. 5.5 assists per game tells us Vukosa was not functioning only as a low block scorer. She was handling the ball in actions, finding cutters, making reads from the high post, and creating offense for teammates. That profile fits naturally beside Strong. Strong already controls a massive share of UConn's frontcourt offense. She led the team in points, rebounds, blocks, and steals last season, and finished second in assists. She's not a conventional power forward waiting for someone else to organize the possession. She is the organizer. That changes what UConn needs from the center beside her. The ideal partner does not need 15 post touches. She needs to create space for Strong, screen effectively, move the ball quickly, and punish the defense when it overcommits. Watch the spacing when Strong catches around the elbow. If the center remains planted on the low block, her defender can sit in the lane. That shrinks Strong's driving window and gives the defense another body near every cut. But if the center can operate at the high post, participate in dribble handoffs or screen, and flow into the next action, the defense has to make a decision. Does the opposing 5 step away from the rim? Does the weak side defender tag the cutter? Does the guard fight over the handoff or switch? That is how a mobile, connective center creates value without taking a shot. Vukosa's high school passing suggests she may eventually give UConn that option. But there is an important difference between theoretical fit and verified production. El Alfy has already proved she can rebound and finish efficiently against college players. Vukosa has not played one college minute. Her passing instincts may translate immediately. Her mobility may fit the system. Her size may hold up defensively. But none of those outcomes should be treated as guaranteed. The same applies to her perimeter shooting. Vukosa is comfortable operating away from the basket, but that does not automatically make her a proven stretch 5. College defenses will not guard her at the three-point line because of her recruiting ranking. They will watch the release, the percentage, and the confidence. If she hesitates or misses consistently, opponents will still help off her and crowd Strong's operating area. Her early offensive value may come from handoffs, short roll passing, face-up drives, and transition play rather than pure shooting gravity. That would still make her different from an El Alfy. A center does not need to make 3 3-pointers per game to improve spacing. She can improve spacing by making decisions quickly enough that the defense cannot load the lane and remain static. That is where Vukosa may have the cleaner stylistic fit. But this rotation includes another pressure point. Blanca Quiñones. Quiñones averaged 10.7 points, 3.1 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and 2 steals as a freshman. She won Big East Freshman of the Year and 6th Woman of the Year. More importantly, Auriemma trusted her in a major postseason game. She produced 20 points and 8 rebounds against Notre Dame in the Elite 8. Quiñones is not a traditional center, but she gives UConn an alternative frontcourt structure. Place Strong and Quiñones together with 3 guards, and UConn gains speed, defensive activity, transition pressure, and more perimeter skill. The Huskies give up traditional size, but the lineup may still rebound well enough because Strong's an elite rebounder, and Quiñones attacks the ball aggressively. That means El Alfy and Vukosa are not only competing against each other, they're competing against small ball. That is the real frontcourt logjam. Every minute Auriemma uses Strong and Quiñones together at the 4 and 5 is a minute unavailable to a listed center. And in late-game situations, versatility often becomes more valuable than positional size. If the opponent is switching every action, shrinking the paint, and forcing UConn to create off the dribble, Auriemma may prefer 5 players who can all pass, move, and defend in space. That could leave El Alfy on the bench. It could also leave Vukosa on the bench if her freshman defensive reads are not ready. Then there is Gendi Malo-Memel, the forgotten variable. She's also 6'5". She averaged 17.1 points, 10.2 rebounds, and 2.2 blocks during her final high school season, and produced a double-double for Ireland at the 2024 FIBA Under-20 Eurobasket Division B tournament. Her freshman role at UConn was limited, but she now has a full season of experience in the system. That matters. Young post players do not always develop in a straight line. A jump in conditioning, defensive communication, or processing speed can change the rotation quickly. Malo-Memel may not carry El Alfy's college production or Vukosa's recruiting reputation, but she gives Auriemma another option if neither one provides a complete solution. And that brings us back to the South Carolina loss. UConn scored 48 points in the 2026 Final Four. The Huskies shot 31.1% from the field, 28.6% from three, and scored only 20 points in the paint. Strong played all 40 minutes and finished with 12 points and 12 rebounds, but shot 4 for 16. AZ Fudd shot 3 for 15. El Alfy played 8 scoreless minutes. Sierra Williams played 14 minutes and scored 4 points. That game was not lost by one center. UConn's guard struggled, its best front court scorer was inefficient, and the entire offense produced 15 turnovers. But the game exposed a lineup problem. Against an athletic defense that could pressure the ball, recover to shooters, and contest the paint, UConn did not find a front court configuration that consistently improved its spacing or decision-making. That is why this center competition matters. Auriemma is not simply searching for 8 points and 8 rebounds. He is searching for the front court combination that prevents the offense from becoming static against the best defensive teams in the country. The most revealing decision will not be who starts in November. It will be who closes in February and March. If UConn needs one defensive rebound, El Alfy may be the logical choice. If the opponent is playing a large traditional center, El Alfy's physicality may become essential. If the opponent is switching and forcing the 5 to make decisions away from the basket, Vukosa may become more valuable. If UConn needs maximum speed, defensive activity, and offensive skill, Strong and Quinones may close without a listed center. And if Vukosa makes 2 freshman mistakes, watch Auriemma's response. Does he allow her to play through them, or does he immediately return to the veteran? That will tell us more about the hierarchy than the opening lineup. The most reasonable early season projection is a matchup-based rotation. El Alfy should receive dependable minutes because she has 2 healthy seasons of college experience, rebounds at an elite rate, and finishes efficiently. Vukosa has the highest ceiling as a multidimensional center, but she must prove she can defend without fouling, process UConn's reads, and create real offensive value away from the basket. Malo-Memel gives Auriemma a third development option. Strong remains the front court centerpiece, regardless of who plays beside her, and Quinones gives UConn a small ball solution that may become more attractive as games become more important. That is why UConn's center room is so difficult to project. It contains several legitimate answers, but no proven complete answer. El Alfy has experience in production, but not an unconditional role. Vukosa has elite recruiting status and a versatile profile, but no college evidence. Malo-Memel has size and developmental upside, but remains largely untested. Strong and Quinones allow Auriemma to reduce the position entirely, so this competition will not be decided by who is ranked highest, who starts the opener, or who posts the largest rebounding total against an overmatched opponent. It will be decided by which player allows UConn to run its entire system without creating a new weakness somewhere else. UConn has enough centers. What Geno Auriemma still has to determine is whether he trusts any one of them to defend in space, make the correct read, and execute when the season reaches its most important possession.
Prime Field